Today we're going to be taking a look at a 2024 Toyota Venza Limited. Let's get started. This right here is the fourth and final year of the Venza's run here in the United States. It was brought back in 2021, and now this 2024 model year is going to be the last one as it's being discontinued and replaced with the new Toyota Crown Signia. So for today's walk around video, we're doing the highest trim level of the Toyota Venza. This right here is the Limited. And as a reminder, every single Toyota Venza is a hybrid and all-wheel drive. We're gonna start as usual under the hood where we have this 2.5 liter 4-cylinder hybrid engine. It's shared with the RAV4 hybrid and we have an eCVT transmission. This engine here makes 219 net combined horsepower and it gets 40 miles per gallon in the city, 37 on the highway for an average of 39. In this video, I'm going to take you guys on a walk around of this Toyota Venza. We're going to go outside first, and then we're going to jump inside and talk about some of the features. So we're going to start right here in the front of the vehicle, and the first thing that we're going to mention is the paint. This right here is Toyota's Coastal Gray Metallic. It's been on the Venza since it was reintroduced back in 2021, and it's sort of a cross between blue and gray. Venzas have these really long LED projector headlights that do look pretty modern in the way that they're sleek and long, and right underneath those headlights there is a chrome bar that sort of bridges into the middle where we can see this blue Toyota emblem. Because it's a hybrid, Toyota likes to slap that blue emblem on it, and that chrome strip just carries all the way over to the other headlight. And the fog lights for the Venza are all the way down at the bottom of the bumper. You can see over here on the driver's side and the passenger side, those little circular lights are the fog lights, so you can control that from the inside. Moving up to the grille, you can see there's a couple of parking sensors built on and around this front grille, so we have some on the bumper as well. And also right at the very top of this grille, we have a front-mounted camera. Because this Venza Limited has the panoramic view monitor, we can see all around the Venza, so not only just out the back, you can also see out the front. That's what that camera does. On top of the windshield is another camera, and there's also a millimeter wave radar built in behind this Toyota emblem. That's because this Toyota Venza has TSS 2.5 Plus, which is their safety system. It's not the newest safety system that Toyota has. 3.0 did come out this year, but 2.5 Plus prior to 3.0 coming out this year was the latest safety system that Toyota offered, and it has mostly all the same features as the newest one. Let's take a look next at the wheels and tires. The wheels here are Toyota's 19-inch machine finished alloy wheels, and the tire size is 225/55 R19. Now onto the side of the Venza, we're gonna work our way from the bottom going upwards. So at the bottom, there's a little bit of black plastic trimming right here, just to sort of protect the vehicle a little bit. If you are gonna take it out on some trails, you're not gonna scratch that paint by having that black plastic right there. Up over on the door handles, keyless entry these days is pretty standard on your front driver's side and passenger side door. So you can tap on these lines right here to lock it. You can see the mirrors are gonna fold in, and as long as the key is nearby, you can go ahead and unlock it like that. That's pretty standard stuff these days, but the Venza also has that in the rear as well, which is less common to have keyless entry in the rear, but it's really nice if you're just coming up to the car and you wanna grab something that's left in the back seats. These side mirrors are paint matched to the body of the Venza. There's a turn signal indicator built into the side that's wrapped in some chrome, and coming around there is a blind spot monitor, which is standard. Underneath the mirror is another camera right there, which is going to help you out with that 360-degree coverage on the panoramic view monitor. The window trimming of the Venza is surrounded in chrome, but over here between the front and rear doors you have some gloss black. Up on top of the Venza gets these silver roof rails, and this one here did come with these optional black crossbars. Moving along over to the back of the roof, there's a color-matched shark fin antenna at the very end. And right behind the rear doors over here, we have the fuel door. The Venza takes 14.5 gallons of regular 87 octane gas. That should get you about 565 miles if you're gonna do the 39 miles per gallon. Next up, we're moving on to the rear of the Venza, and the rear has this little tiny spoiler that just covers a little bit of the rear glass right here. And on that spoiler is a brake light that's built in, just kind of stretches all the way across it. On this rear glass right here, you also have your wiper, which you can control up in the front. And we have our taillight. These taillights are this connecting style right here, and they have a blue Toyota emblem in the center. Right below that Toyota emblem is our reverse camera, and we have a couple of badges right here. So on the left, we have Venza. On the right, it says Limited. Just below that, we've got our rear bumper, which has some more parking sensors on it. This one right here did come from the factory with a tow hitch, which is a pretty rare option. We also have our turn signals down here on the bumper, which is pretty strange. Usually turn signals are going to be a little bit higher integrated within the tail lights, but turn signals are down here at the bottom. And these exhaust tips, you can see they have a little bit of a fake cover on them to make them look bigger than they really are, but we have a dual tip exhaust, so one on each side. We're gonna start the tour of the interior of the Venza by going over the cargo area, and there's a couple of different ways to open up this cargo area. Firstly, you have a button inside the cabin, just right next to the steering wheel. You can press that and that'll open up this cargo space. You could also use the key and hold down the third button on the key remote, and that'll open up the lift gate. And there's two more ways that we can open up this lift gate. One of them is to go down underneath the rear bumper and just sort of kick your foot. It is a foot activated lift gate. And the last way is just to go ahead and push this button right underneath the Toyota emblem. That's going to open up the lift gate and give us access to the cargo space. Over here we have 28.8 cubic feet of space, which is quite a bit less than what you get in a RAV4, which I believe is about 37 cubic feet. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that the Venza has a much higher loading height. The cargo space sort of starts at my thigh versus in a RAV4, it's a little bit lower, where maybe you can walk up to the RAV4 and it's just above your knees where you can start sliding things in. So you get a lot more cargo volume in something like the RAV4. But in this cargo space, we have JBL speakers, which are standard on the limited model. We also have some carpet mats, some rubber mats, a first aid kit, and one of these little sliding covers so that nobody can see what you have inside the cargo area. The rear seats also do fold down in a 60-40 split, and if you fold down those rear seats, you're gonna get 55 cubic feet of total cargo space. And on the liftgate itself, we have two buttons. One of them we can use right here just to close it, and this other one will close it and also lock. So if you're just putting something away in the cargo space, you can push on this second button right here, press it, start walking away, and the Venza is gonna lock itself once it's done closing. You can also see a little bit of a guide right here of where to kick for that foot activated sensor. So it's just gonna be slightly off to the right side. It sort of looks like this guy's kicking in the middle, but this little arrow right here says to just kick forward and back quickly on the right side of the bumper. Next up on our interior tour, we're gonna jump inside of the Venza. And so we're gonna start right here with the door panels and working our way from the bottom up. We do have a LED light down here at the bottom and another one of our JBL speakers. There's 9 total speakers in this Venza. Some storage right here for water bottles or cups. Then moving upwards a little bit, another little small storage pocket right here, just right beside our window switches. These are auto up down on all 4 corners. You have your window lock button, lock and unlock for the entire vehicle, mirror controls, and this little selector right here off to the left of these mirror controls is gonna allow you to automatically fold the mirrors in. If you keep this in the center, it's automatically gonna fold the mirrors in when you lock the vehicle, but if you always want them to either be out or always be in, you can go ahead and select that manually. Chrome door handle right here, and we also have 2 positions for memory seats. The door panel is made up of half of this Softex leather with some gray stitching, and on the bottom, the other half right here is this hard touch plastic so that you don't ruin this leather just in case you want to kick the door open. Let's take a look at these seats next. This is Toyota's Softex material, so it's a fake synthetic leather, a little bit squishy right here, and there's also some gray and white stitching on the seats. These seats are perforated because they are heated and ventilated for both the driver and the passenger side, and these are also power seats as well, with lumbar support for the driver's side. Down by the pedals, we have our release for the fuel door and release for the hood. And just above that, we've got this row of buttons where we can control the brightness for the center gauges, our automatic high beams, traction control off, panoramic view monitor, heated steering wheel, and opening and closing of the liftgate. The position of the steering wheel can also be electrically adjusted just like the seat, so you don't have to pull down a lever and change the position. You can just go ahead and use this right here, and that also syncs with the memory seats. We're sitting inside the Toyota Venza now, and we're gonna start by taking a look at this steering wheel right here, which is leather wrapped, and as most Toyota leather wrapped steering wheels, they're super soft when they're brand new. And we have a couple of steering wheel buttons down here. So at the very bottom, we have our audio and multimedia controls. Right side is going to control the radar cruise control and lane depart assist. And the left side right here is going to help us control the menu for our multi-information display. The Venza has an all-digital cluster and multi-information display. So we're going to go ahead and turn on this Venza to see what that looks like. The Venza's start button is in sort of a weird position. Usually you would see it right behind the steering wheel, but it's actually right underneath the climate controls. So we're going to go ahead and press our foot on the brake, press this power button. And one thing that you'll notice when I go to turn on the car is that the steering wheel is going to be brought closer to me and the seat sort of slides in. So it's going to remember your driving position and sort of put you right where you want to be. And when you turn off the Venza, the steering wheel is going to go back, seat's going to slide back, and it just makes it a little bit easier to hop in and out of the vehicle. Now let's go ahead and take a look at this gauge cluster right here. So like I said, it's all digital. As we switch drive modes, you can see a little Venza graphic right there. So that right there will just show you that you're switching into different drive modes, and it's going to change up the cluster a little bit. Right above the gauge cluster, we have a 10-inch heads-up display. It's going to be a little bit difficult to catch on camera because on camera it's going to be flickering around a little bit, but as you're driving, you sort of have this little display that's being projected onto the windshield that tells you some useful information like your speed, the speed limit, and whether the engine is in charge, eco, or power. You can also have a compass on there. You can have your navigation on there. And so it's pretty customizable. You can find that in the settings of the cluster. Moving to the center, we have a 12.3-inch infotainment display. So you can see we have our navigation right here, which I believe you do have to subscribe to now in the Toyota app. You've got your music over here, phone calls, vehicle information, and over in the settings, you can go ahead and connect your Bluetooth devices. Once you pair a Bluetooth device, you can set up Apple CarPlay and Android Auto wirelessly. There's no volume knob on this display, but you do get these volume up and down buttons. Right underneath the display, we have some air vents right here and our HVAC controls. Unfortunately, the HVAC controls are all touch controls, so we can go ahead and turn up the fan just by tapping like this. There's no physical buttons, it's all just touch controls. And moving down underneath these HVAC controls, I'm gonna go ahead and slide the shifter back so that we can get in there. We've got 3 USB-C ports and a wireless phone charger over here just beside this start button. We've got our electronic parking brake, which does go up and down automatically, a brake hold function, all these different drive modes so we can switch between sport, normal, and eco. You can go into EV mode at low speeds. This right here is the shifter. It's a pretty nice looking one. You can go ahead and shift it left here for sport mode, where you can simulate the shifting of gears. So we can go in the gauges right here. It's S2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's simulating a 6-speed transmission. We've got 2 cup holders right here as well. And behind the cup holders, we have our buttons for the heated and the ventilated seat. And inside this center console, we have this little tray right here where you can place your smaller sort of cups and water bottles. So we can go ahead and slide this tray out right here and get an idea for how big this center console is. There's no USBs inside there, but you do have a little 12-volt power outlet. Next up, we're going to jump into the passenger side. So the door panel is mostly all the same stuff, just with some less controls. The seat, pretty much identical. We just don't have lumbar support for the passenger side. The door sills also have a little plaque right here that says Venza, which is pretty cool. That's also over on the driver's side. Now, hopping inside the Venza from the passenger side now. And now we're going to take a look at this glove box, which actually does not have a lock on it. So you can't lock anything inside the glove box. If you're going to valet the car and just give them the remote and not the key, you can't lock any of your personal belongings in here. Inside this glove box, we just have a lot of the paperwork for the Venza, and we have these cover brackets where the crossbars are in place right now. Next up, we're going to go ahead and move upwards to this rear view mirror. And at first it looks like just an ordinary rear view mirror, but if you go ahead and flick this switch right here in the center, this will turn into a digital rear view mirror. You can go ahead and use some of the buttons over here on the right side to control some settings like the zoom and the positioning of the camera. And the buttons over here on the left will help you open up your garages or gates, so you can go ahead and connect your remotes over to the vehicle, and these buttons will then be paired to 1, 2, or 3. Just above that, we have some light controls and an emergency SOS button. Now, this particular Venza Limited did not come with the Stargaze panoramic roof. There's no like simple half sunroof, that just covers the front seats. Those are not available on the Venza. If you get a sunroof on the Venza, it's going to be the one that stretches all the way out to the back seats, and it has a little light control. They call it the Stargaze panoramic roof, and it's optional on the Limiteds, so this one just didn't come with it. But taking a look at our visors right here, we've got an LED light and a mirror. They do swivel around like this, and they don't pull out all the way, but you do get this little bit of extra coverage right here. Lastly, on our interior tour, we're going to take a look at the rear seats, which the rear seats actually are perforated as well, sort of to match the front seats, even though that these rear seats are not heated or ventilated. We can go ahead and fold down these rear seats by pulling up right here and then just sliding them forward. So very easy to fold the rear seats. If you're not going to use the middle seat, you can also fold down this center area, which will sort of give you an armrest and 2 extra cup holders. Back here, you also have child seat latch points on the outer seats, and there's also 2 air vents in the center. Just underneath that, you have 2 more USB Type-C ports, and there's pockets behind the driver's seat and the passenger seat. So that's going to do it for this walk around overview of the 2024 Toyota Venza Limited. If you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. I'm a little sad to see that this is the last model year of the Venza, but hopefully the Crown Signia that replaces it is going to be better than this in every way. So hopefully we don't end up missing the Venza and asking for it to come back for a third time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.